Hello, hello. This is Norma Joe coming at all you earthlings down there. Actually, I want to have another drink of my drink. One sec. Okay, so think of this kind of like that guy that reads those books, like the big red chair and all that stuff. So I've got a story for you earthlings tonight that I have not looked at since I wrote it. And I think I wrote it in 9th grade. Not sure. We're gonna see. After I read it, I'm gonna throw it away because I'm trying to get rid of shit. But I just want to see what the fuck it is. Oh my god, there's a lot of these. I might do a video, more videos. Alright, so this story is called Her Fault. And it has a picture of a German Shepherd on a fence right there. I think there might be some blood on the fence or something. You just see that? Alright, so let's get into this story and see what it's got. Welcome to Cypress Town. Here it's more than common to see people who are part animal. Foreigners like to call us half-breeds, but in reality everyone's different and some are less human than others. As for me, I have the tawny ears of some sort of wolf. My hair is long, black, and spiked. God. My eyes are teal. I'm 5'11 and 19 years old. My skin is pale, but I'm not white. In CT, these are the sorts of things people want to know, and it's best just to tell them and avoid a fight. When I change, I look like a German Shepherd, but I'm not. I know I'm lucky to be a werewolf. There aren't many of us. Yeah, right. Not in CT, anyway. My pack calls me Tawny. Everyone else calls me Echo. Every month, I wait for the moon to shine on me, counting down the seconds until I'll get to see the pack again. In the meantime, I send letters to people I used to know. I've never gotten one back. Then there's a break, and then the story resumes again. They race through the park, the light streaming through the trees, put bluish stripes across their backs and faces. Their hot breath turned to mist in front of their muzzles. I feel like I'm reading Metal Gear again. They were slender and scruffy, like a pack of stoats. Their huge, fluffy tails, speaking of which, were held high in joy. There were no rules here. Sounds nice. One in the back leapt forward, clearing over one of her brothers and snapping a mosquito from the air. Her tan paws were caked with mud, and the rest of her silvery body was matted, but it still shone, and she was still beautiful. Echo ran up to her side, still racing. He stuffed his black nose into her ear, breathing in her scent. She ran faster, lighter. It was as if she was flying. She threw her head back and bayed. Their paws hit cement as they left the park. Echo beat the ground, fighting for speed. God, I remember writing shit like that all the time. He took a running leap over a garbage can, but caught it with his back paws. Fail. Still, he was halfway down the block before he realized he'd heard a crash and stopped to look back. He covered the distance in a flash. He kicked a few pieces of trash aside and nosed through the rest. There was really nothing there, but the 3 letters drew his attention. There was something familiar about them, but he couldn't exactly remember what. The impatient barks of the others called him back. He forgot the letters. He forgot everything. He became a wolf. They would make another run around the town before dispersing and going home. Echo would go to his girlfriend's, and in the morning he'd wonder who knocked over his garbage can. Okay. She was awake before he was. When he woke up, the first thing he saw was her watchful smile. Her Sparky aqua eyes held him like a cobra's. Though she was naked under the see-through sheet, he barely had any desire to look at the rest of her brown, lean body. She was a beauty, alright, and he loved her, but he wasn't in love with her. Up yet? She asked. Her fluffy, silvery-colored tail, which she had both in her human and wolf forms, wagged impatiently. With a low sigh, he shoved himself up and pulled on some clothes. This was her apartment, and he felt inclined to do as she said. Amy, he said, shoving open a window and making the pigeons scatter. Can't you just smell that? That what? She rolled over onto her back. The smell of a sunny day. He jumped on her and tickled her, making her squeal like a puppy. But he stopped when she yelped in pain. What happened? She turned away from him. There was a streak of blood on the sheet from where her hands were slashed. When she hid them under her long stone gray hair, he nudged her, which made her stiffen harder. Amy, she got up and got dressed. What? I have to go to work, she said sharply. In a moment she was gone. Echo stood there alone, ears pressed against his head defensively. In the few short months they'd spent together, he hadn't seen her like this. They were close friends anyway, for so short a time. He went outside and cleaned up from the night before. There was something about the scene, like deja vu, but he couldn't place it. Damn raccoons, he said, kicking aside an old newspaper absent-mindedly. Underneath were the letters. He just stared at first. Scribbled across them was his name in different colors of ink. Gently he picked them up and looked them over. They were real. By that night, Tawny had forgotten about his fight with Amy. He forgot everything, even his letters. His paws beat the ground as his mind flashed from one moment to the next, not holding, being wedged down by anything. As usual, he and the gray she-wolf were in front. The others lagged behind, licking things and howling stupidly. Tawny and Amy left them behind tonight. They needed to run. Taking a sudden burst of speed, she leapt over an oncoming wire fence. Tawny tried to follow her, but she ran faster. They were back in the town now, claws clicking on the cement. She rounded a corner. Then another. Then she was gone. He put his nose to the ground to try and pick up her scent, but it was useless. Up yet? She shoved him roughly. By this time, she was already up and dressed. He mumbled something sleepily and pushed himself up. Why did she always have to be up before him? That day it was his turn to go to work. Amy and him both worked the same job at the CT daycare. Interesting. It was a place where other people left their kids, still too young to take care of themselves, alone at home, when they went off to their meaningless jobs. Wow, did I seriously just, explain what daycare is? Same day. Some days he loved it, other days he hated it. Either way, every other day he had to go. He and Amy switched off and on while the others stayed home. Echo banged the door of the bungalow open. Some of the kids he recognized right away. Among them was Kate, a bold kindergartner with the stark black ears and tail of a greyhound. Her little hands and feet were also colored black, color points, a rarer marking of the people in Cypress Town. She jumped on him the moment she saw him. Behind her were three of her close friends. Carolyn, a girl with calico cat ears and tail. Michael, but it's spelled like M-Y-K-L-E. A boy with red and black cardinal hair. And Joey, a girl with bluebird-colored hair and wings. Echo hugged Kate, but she quickly pulled away. Her hands pressed against his chest. Dark brown eyes stared into his teal ones. You smell weird, like something, she said curiously. What do you think, KK? The little cat pawed at his jacket, sniffing. She hit his pocket, and seeing that something was in there, she snapped open the button snap and started to investigate. What's in here? He brushed her aside and pulled out a white envelope with his name scribbled across in red ink. He froze as he suddenly remembered. He'd hid the others, but not that one. He was in a rush. He forgot all about it. He smells like Amy did yesterday, Kate was saying. Huh? He answered. You know, same came Carolyn's fairy voice. Like burning stuff. She burned her hand. He thought of Amy that morning, shoving him, running her fingers in his hair. She'd gotten ash on him and Kate. with her sensitive dog nose. And Kate, with her sensitive dog nose, had smelled it. I couldn't smell it, said Michael, but her hand was bleeding. She said she burned it on a cigarette. She said never to smoke, else bad things happen. Joey was glaring. Amy lied. My mama smokes and nothing bad happened. Your mama's stupid, said the cardinal. Joey slapped him. Ooh, just as if she were 20 years old. Don't you ever say that. Take it back. Echo sighed. Cypress Town was not a place to raise kids. It never was, and it never would be. Damn, that's fucking harsh. The apartment was scented of smoke by the time he got home. Amy didn't smoke. In fact, she even hated it when other people smoked. She didn't expect him to get home so soon. Tawny, she said as soon as he walked through the door. She had the windows open and was leaning against the wall. Why are you home early? I think more of the question is, why did you burn my letters? There was a sort of growl in his voice. He didn't want to bite her or yell at her. Not yet, anyway. What are you talking about? She replied, still cool as ever. I'm talking about this. He whipped out the letter and held it in front of her face. Did you think I'd never find out? How long have you been doing this? How long have you known? I asked you my question first. She didn't answer. You just don't get it, do you? I thought everyone I used to know didn't even care anymore. And then as soon as I find out they do, I find out that you've been keeping this from me. No, you don't get it, she snarled, shoving him back so hard he hit the door. I'm not from here either. Did you know that? My mom threw me out of the house at 14, of course. The only one I had was my bastard brother. Then he has to get himself half killed by a drunk driver. Damn, this is the speech. The next person I met was you, a wolf like me, even, and a town where we fit in. I'm not gonna just let you leave me to go off and visit some asshole you met in school. Damn! Okay. She was glaring at him now, eyes fiery, teeth bared. He stared back at her, a cold glare, then he walked out. Ooh, so drama, God. Okay, that night was a full moon. Echo was still in the park when night fell. That's fucking harsh. It was the only time he'd ever fought the change. He didn't... Oh, okay, that's why he's in the park. I thought he was, like, sleeping in the park. It was the only time he ever fought the change. He didn't want to go back to the apartment. He didn't want to lose his mind, his ability to think. Not tonight. 20 minutes later, he was running with the pack. Amy was right by his side. She'd forgotten how they fought, and so did he. Gaining speed, she leapt clean over his back and into a ditch. He chased her. He chased her up and down the sides of the ditch. Water and nettles at the bottom, but they didn't care. She darted through the trees, kicking up dirt and dead leaves. In her path was a wire fence, but she jumped over it as if it were nothing. How far were they from the rest of the pack? From the town? They didn't care. Nothing existed but them. Coming up with a tall fence. Amy cleared it, as always. Amy the jumper. Tawny tried to follow, but he slammed against the wood, knocking his breath away. When he was back on his feet, she was long gone. In the afternoon, Echo finally woke up. He looked at the alarm clock laying on the floor. 2:10. He scrambled up. Good thing it was Amy's turn to work today, he thought. Why didn't she wake him? Wasn't she always up before him? It wasn't until later that he saw the letter shoved under the door. One of the neighbors must have brought it up. How strange. He tore it open and stared at the shivery scrawl. It was a crumpled letter with a bunch of places where ink had run or smeared. Tawny, I'm sorry. Sorry for everything. I should do a more dramatic voice. I thought you should know that before I begin my note, I crossed over to Ginny Town last night. I woke up in jail. I asked a friend of mine to get this to you as fast as possible. Please come free me. It's so horrible here. He looked up from the letter and stared out the window. No, he thought, I don't have letters. Somebody burned them all. He turned on the stove, opened a window, threw the letter into the fire, and watched it burn. Damn! This is like a woman-hating ass story. Shit. But, you know, when you're in 9th grade, things are different. Yeah.